All right, let's do take two on this. I just recorded an entire 24-minute patch note analysis. Just fucking nothing. I'm on 3 hours of sleep, and I started recording right after I got off work. Okay, I am in no state to be doing this video. So let's analyze the patch 10.16 patch notes. I'm also learning that I really should do a first read through instead of going in blind when I'm trying to make an analysis video, because it gives me a moment to stop. I looked back on my old footage. I'm like, wow, I said some stupid things. We're gonna try to avoid that, but here's the deal with these patch hypotheses. I'm just trying to predict how the patch is going to affect the game a little bit, not necessarily the definitive impact on each champion. I'm not smart enough for that. I don't know all 5 roles enough for that. I am trying to get to that point. I'm trying to help myself learn how to properly analyze by doing these videos, but it's mostly we're going to go through together and learn some stuff. Just try to see what happened here. So I have therefore read most of the things in these patch notes already. So we're gonna have to just speed through this a little bit. First of all, Yone. You can check out the day 1 Yone video that I put out already, going over our experiences on the PvE with him. I think he's got a weaker early game and then scales insanely well, and I think he's super, super fun. I'm interested to see how he develops now that everyone's going to get their hands on him. Akali. Yeah, no one plays this champion. I never see her. I really never see her. Not in pro play, not in challenger streams, not in my own games, although I have just come to ranked. 5 damage on Q, nice little bump up for her, but this sounds like a nerf. Shuriken flip, being magic damage, sounds like a nerf, because she already does predominantly magic damage. So they say they're trying to buff her, but they give her 5 damage on Q and then make it easier to itemize against her. So I don't really understand what's gonna, the impact on this exact patch will not be positive for Akali, which sucks, because she's already not frequently played at all. I think in the future, this may set her up to be buffed again, but for this patch, nothing's really going to happen. Ashe. Ashe is really good. The Monamune build is sweet, but the Monamune build also doesn't have Bork in it, and so Ashe losing 20% bonus attack speed at rank 5Q sounds like it's going to be a big deal with the current state of that champion and the builds she's going. If Monamune just is still a strong enough item to sustain her through this, the AD carry meta, there's a lot of utility carries in it. There's Ashe, there's Senna. Kalista has utility for her support. Aphelios is the best hyper carry, but just has extra utility there. Varus was good, but not as much anymore. So maybe Ashe brings enough to the table with Monamune that she survives this, but I think we will see a noticeable drop in her power. Not enough to make her disappear. I don't think that'll happen, but I think the Ashe priority is going down a little bit, especially as we're about to see the Karma nerfs. Bard. I'm having a hard time assessing this one because Bard is the support I understand the least, which is embarrassing as a support main to have one who I don't know his game plan entirely. I struggle to play Bard. I have been playing him a little bit to try to get good at him because he is so strong. And I have noticed that the Shrine with Athenes is way more powerful than I expected. Although that's maximum heal buffs. Wait a minute. Wait, these are maximum heal buffs. The heal where you just drop it on someone and proc Athenes, that's not affected. Because the Athenes healing does not factor into maximum. Bard is going to be fine. Bard is going to be here. Sure, open up counter picks. Sure, his early game healing reduced. Bard's early game healing already sucks a lot. Maybe he's not pickable into everything. I don't think this will do much to Bard at all, though. So, little love tap. Not bad. Evelynn. I made a stupid comment about Evelynn in my last iteration of this video. Oh my god. So what I had heard is this could be a nerf to her early clear, but then it's a little stronger early. But then I realized hitting a monster no longer refunds 50% of Hate Spike's cooldown. How much of Hate Spike's cooldown is going away? Oh, look, 50%. This affects Evelyn's first clear? Not at all. Now, I struggle to see how much this will do, like, because Evelyn already has damage in spades. She can already overkill most champions, but at the very least, it sounds like it will make her more impactful against targets that she didn't charm, whose magic resist she didn't shred. So actually, my opinion of Evelyn is more positive with this change than it was like when I thought about it last time. This actually does sound to be pretty alright, because she's going to assassinate someone, and then she doesn't necessarily have to wait for her W cooldown as much in every case. She might be able to re-engage sooner after ulting out, killing 2 people, coming back in on someone else. They said they were trying to do this change like to lane flex Evelyn. I don't think that's going to happen. I think Evelyn is just way too vulnerable in a lane, but actually this could be good in some cases. It's just, again, the buff is ultimately more damage for Evelyn, who already has a fuck ton of damage. And it sounds like niche cases where that'll affect her when she's already killed and can go back in. So it's a decent change, but I don't think this will make Evelyn like super, super meta. This Fiora buff sounds disgusting. Her Q can go down to 3 seconds if she hits you. It's like Fiora is just going to scale harder now when Fiora's identity is already scaling well and then just being a side lane monster. And that is frightening. I don't know enough about top lane to understand like how bad this is going to be for other top laners. But Fiora sounds like she's going to be absurdly strong after this. Even if for some reason she doesn't want to fight you, she can Q away every 6 seconds. And that is very short cooldown mobility. So, easier to proc her vitals. Easier to split push. Easier to chase you down. Easier to escape. Like, it just sounds like an immensely powerful buff for Fiora. It really does. Like, so, I do suspect she's one of the champions to watch this patch. Hecarim, I'm always scared of Hecarim when he's strong. I think Hecarim in the early game, if he's too strong, is just not fun for laners at all. But when I look carefully at what the change is, rank 1 E is unaffected. It just scales up better to rank 5, 100% bonus move speed. And Hecarim does not max E first. I'm pretty sure it's Q, because that just helps him clear more effectively. I had like concerns for a moment about top lane Hecarim because I heard that's already like reasonably strong, but this only really comes into play at level 13. So Hecarim getting some extra mid-game boosts doesn't sound that scary, but it sounds nice for Hecarim. I don't think we'll see him like skyrocket into meta status, but Hecarim players should probably be happy with this. Jax. Jax's E cooldown is going down 2 seconds at rank 1 and unaffected at 5. So I don't know how much Jax struggles in lane. I know that is generally where he's weakest because Jax is another one of those scaling monster top laners. This probably gives him like a lot like more power than it sounds in certain matchups, but not all. Top is so matchup dependent that it's really hard for me to speak to it, especially when it's my worst role where I have the least knowledge. This is definitely not on like the Fiora scale of buffs. Like Jax's buffs sound a lot more reasonable than Fiora's if they think Jax is underperforming. So not too scared of him, but it sounds nice for Jax. The Jhin changes are actually interesting to me, where he's just his 4-shot is just going to be more effective as like against structures, and Jhin is already creeping into the meta as a counter to certain meta 80 carries. Unfortunately, I haven't been keeping up with which ones those are, but with Ashe being nerfed at the very least, this is opening up space for other marksmen to come in. And I feel like Jhin is going to start taking that spot. Not just from this buff. This buff is just nice for Siege. Get like reducing one of those, because Jhin has certain weaknesses that other marksmen usually don't. This is kind of toning back on one of those weaknesses. He's still going to struggle against tanks. And as long as Volibear is running rampant, I don't think Jhin will ever be like the strongest AD carry. You definitely have to build a comp around having him if they have something like Volibear, but could be very, very nice for Jin. Jinx, it's a bug fix, but it sounds like high in cap. High in cap. I'm reading 2 words at once. 3 hours sleep, guys. 3 hours sleep. Jinx's R's bonus damage is now uncapped because it was bugged and only did up to 375 damage to champions. That is frightening. Against all targets, too. It's not going to... Is that not applying to monsters? Oh my god. Her Baron Steel potential is... Okay. Depending on how high impact this buff is. I do not see a lot of hyper carries in the meta right now. But with the rising strength of enchanters and the falling strength of playmakers... Maybe. My prediction is that Jinx does not immediately appear in the meta. I don't think this is Jinx's patch. But as we start seeing, like, because there's Tristana stuff down below, there's Ashe nerfs, and, like, maybe we're starting to trend towards this. We'll watch Jinx in the future. Not right now, but in the future. Karma nerfs. Her Q cost early is going up, and her Q cooldown in general is also going up. Karma's good. The Spell Thief buffs were insane for her. I really enjoy Karma, and I've been having a blast playing her. She definitely is my style of champion. I think these nerfs will be more felt in solo lanes, though, when she won't have as much control over the wave because she can't Q us frequently. But to me, we're trimming down her solo lane agency. Yeah, that's... I didn't even read that part. Perfect. It sounds to me like support Karma is going to be fine. Especially since Spell Thief supports usually can't, like, proc it 100% off cooldown. Like, you're not landing every single Q every 7 seconds unless your enemy's misplaying. So the Spell Thief buffs will offset this cost, and I think Karma support will be fine, but we probably will see some slight impact to solos. Karthus, they say they're seeing an increase in Karthus players and higher win rates, and I've got to take that at face value, because quite frankly, I don't see Karthus a lot at the top level. I know in Pro, he's a situational pick. I can't speak to Challenger. He might be getting a lot of play in Challenger that I'm just not aware of because I'm not watching as many streams lately. And in my own games, I never see Karthus. I think the more you nerf Q or something, it's spammable cooldown or spammable abilities get hurt by damage nerfs a lot. I really think we're going to start seeing Karthus fall from grace a little bit. Like, I think we already have started seeing that, but Karthus won't be nearly as prominent to pick, I believe. But clearly they're working off some data that I don't have, so. Kha'Zix, speaking of data that I don't have, I've been completely neglecting Kha'Zix becoming a stronger champion. He's fucking just appeared out of nowhere. I didn't see where he was coming from. He got buffed, and I obviously didn't pay attention to that. Look, I've not been invested in ranked, and I've really fallen off some patch notes. But Kha'Zix is strong. He's getting his isolated Q damage bonus down a little bit. And it sounds like he'll easily survive that change. It'll probably still be good if he's, like, really good right now. Lucian. Lucian's been out of meta for a while. I agree. He's losing to more meta peers with longer ranges. Lucian really struggles in the bot lane. In solo lanes, he's honestly still okay. There's some lanes where, as far as I know, I think Lucian's still fine in solo lanes. It's just you don't have much success in bot lane. Their solution is 10 damage on Q and 2 shots on rank 1 culling, 4 shots on rank 3 culling. I do not believe this will do anything for Lucian in the bot lane, especially with the direction of support metas. I do not think Lucian will have a lot of success in bot lane still. Misfortune. 2 AD is a decent buff, and the 80 carry space is opening a little bit more. I don't know how out of meta she is. She was very dominant earlier this year. I forgot what nerfs she's been given. I really should look that up. 2 AD sounds like it could be, like, pretty good, though. Because if she's just barely not meta, if she's just barely outclassed by the top tier 80 carries, then I can see her coming back. Morgana. Neat. A second off Q. That sounds useful. She's still Morgana. This will not change, like, pick conditions or a lot of popularity, I don't think. I actually disagree with nerfing Nautilus. That may be an unpopular opinion. I don't think Nautilus is as strong as people make him out to be. If you look at pro games, like all the Nautiluses I've seen have, like, doing well or not, they've been chain feeding. They've been going in, getting those engages going, and dying, like, 100% of the time. Nautilus really is an Aftershock conduit. He's only immensely tanky when he procs the Aftershock, and he is, like, totally relying on that rune. Like, unlike something like Leona, who just gets so many defensive steroids, nerfing Nautilus's steroid to fucking 85 at rank 5. Oh my goodness. Oh, this actually does sound really bad for Nautilus. I feel like sooner or later, people are going to realize that the champ's just not as strong as we think, and he's going to fall out of meta hard. And this is... It's a shame. Yes, he's been way too popular. Yes, he has had his time in the spotlight, but I just don't like seeing champions be nerfed, like, too hard. This nerf in particular is not, like, the only thing. I just think he's not as good. Nico. The cumulative damage here, the increase is, like, I think if I counted right, it is 30 total. Or wait, hold on. It's plus 10 on damage, plus... Oh, it's plus 5 for... Okay, it's actually 20. It's only 20 damage up, not 30. Which could still be beneficial. 20 damage against minions could still be beneficial for establishing mid-prio. In fact, if that burst damage is good enough, too, it enables the blooms to come out more effectively. Nico's another one of those champions where it's like, you know, she pops up. She comes around from time to time. She really needs to, like, be able to wave clear, though, to, I can't speak enough on this one. It sounds nice, but it really depends on how much control this gives her over the lane. And if it does give her more, then maybe she'll show up. The Nocturne changes sound very impactful. Plus 4 seconds on the cooldown of Umbral Blades, and then basic attacks against champions don't reduce it as much. Nocturne really is going to get this once per wave now. And before Tiamat, it sounds like he is going to struggle a lot. It sounds like... I mean, how strong is his Q for wave clear, though? Does Nocturne usually play under tower before he gets Tiamat? These are the things I don't know. And if those are both true, then, like, he'll be fine. It won't be bad. Or, like, it won't be too bad. But this on paper sounds like a very, very impactful nerf to Nocturne mid. Which has been, like, a pretty cool... Nocturne has been a cool champion to appear in the mid lane. So... Rakan, his last buff was practically worthless. I don't think it did anything for him. This one sounds actually strong. Now, of course, Nimbus Cloak is getting nerfed this patch, but Rakan's been getting buffs and buffs and buffs, like, gradually. And with Enchantress coming up into the meta, but Playmakers still having their place, I do think Rakan is going to start emerging. Depending on how strong Xayah is, too, because if Xayah is strong, Rakan's value goes up really high, but as far as I know, I don't think Xayah is, like, strong compared to the others right now. Still, Rakan in isolation sounds like he's getting much better, and I will be practicing him again because I love this champion. Poor set. Just poor set. The base damages are going down. 20 off on Haymaker. You can survive that. 40 off on Facebreaker, and on top of that, as we're about to read in the Nimbus Cloak stuff, the Hex Flash interaction is getting butchered. So I don't think set support survives the changes. I really don't. And set jungle might be impacted too. Set's already not, like, a super powerful top laner, and yeah, he was broken as hell for a really long time, but I think he has fallen a lot, and it's just unfortunate to see him getting nerfed this much when he's already pretty much out of his intended role. And set support was neat. It is a shame. Maybe he still played into Yuumi, because, you know, I do still think Yuumi is strong, but Ezreal's strong too. So how am I forgetting Ezreal when I'm talking about the 80 carries? I'm so stupid. But that's just my brain going on a tangent. I think this hurts set a lot in support especially, and probably jungle, but I don't think to the same degree. Set jungle might be fine. Skarner's in hibernation. Okay, I really struggle to know what to make of this because I don't play Skarner and I don't see a lot of Skarner. But Warrior is not as good on him. Warrior was really a solo queue thing for Skarner. Cinderhulk is the way to go now. Where is he building attack damage? It might just encourage him to build some more attack damage. And, you know, he's got base AD, so it might be fine. It might be a decent buff. I think, you know, Skarners are always hovering generally around pro if tank junglers are fine. So it's just hard to know how impactful this is because, like, with how Skarner usually builds, it doesn't sound that huge. Syndra base damage decreased later. I actually was literally Googling this in my last take of the video, so thank goodness I know it now. The rank 5 Transcendence bonus is 25% bonus damage to champions, so this is predominantly a nerf to wave clear at rank 5. And before, too, because, you know, it's not just at rank 5 where the damage has gone down. Bot lane Syndra, who has a lane partner to help her with this, is probably fine. It's just, you know, enchanters are not as good with her, or most enchanters are not, and Nami's not exactly like super meta right now. So bot lane Syndra's, I think, only limited by the supports who are here right now. I think she's probably in a vacuum decently strong. Mid lane Syndra, well, I assume will still be picked after this. It's just a little love tap. Tristana, when I first read these changes on Twitter, I didn't read them properly and I was absolutely terrified. But Explosive Charge now deals 1% increased damage per 3% critical strike chance. This is purely a scaling build that will not affect mid. Like, this doesn't affect her good lane phase mid. Now, I still don't think hyper carries are, like, the meta, with the exception of Aphelios, who has utility elements like most of the rest of the carries right now. Outside of Ezreal, who... now hammering that into my brain. But this might be... Tristana might be on a watch list like Jinx, where I don't think the change happens overnight, but there does seem to be a trend of, like, the hyper carries, like, creeping up. And the Enchantress support's creeping up. Veigar gets some nice MR. Don't think that affects him a lot. Volibear, I've seen some stupid ganks from this champion. Like, he's just zooming, so he got his Q bonus move speed nerfed by a not insignificant amount. So he's pulling off, like, very effective ganks, like, even in pro games. And I don't know if that's just the pros not paying attention, because, like, as I've been learning, pros are not infallible. And we don't put them on a silver pedestal. Like, we don't put them on a pedestal and, like, worship the ground they walk on. We're just like, hey, you're a fucking, like, challenger player. You're pretty good at the game, but you can also make mistakes. And so, what is my brain doing right now? Volibear ganks will be weaker. Maybe top lane volley is like becomes more prevalent than jungle volley. Maybe. Still doubles when moving towards visible. Yeah, so that's still gonna be an insane move speed boost. Like, oh man, he'll survive. He'll just be weaker, which is good. I think. Like, I don't inherently have a problem with the strong champions staying strong. Just please make them a little less strong, or maybe make the people around them stronger, or something like. Then this sounds like it does that. I'm rambling. I'm gonna keep rambling if we don't wrap this up quickly. Yasuo, it's hard to assess. You know, magic resist is nice. He just got some defenses nerfed recently. His flow bar shield is not as powerful. This sounds scary. Like scaling buffs. I mentioned before in the first take of the video that Gragas isn't really, like, running around the jungle often, but he did just get buffed. Those AP buffs don't affect jungle a lot, not the jungle clear, but maybe we start to see the return of Gragas Yasuo. And Ziggs is a really fucking weird one for me to assess, because this, huge when he bases for Lost Chapter. This is a way earlier spike. Like, no, he usually gets Lost Chapter around 6 or 7, doesn't he? Okay, so it's a nice boost at that point, but, like, if he's taking double adaptive, it'll help him in the early game. Help his wave clear a little bit. On paper, this sounds strong. I don't know if Ziggs is actually going to be able to take advantage of his passive in all cases, though. So, I think we watch him. I think we just, like... There's a chance he definitely gains power from this. But I don't think Ziggs, or, like, the style of champion that Ziggs is... I mean, what's meta mid right now? There's, like, Twisted Fate, Zoe... Twisted Fate did get nerfed. Twisted Fate, Zoe... My brain's not working. I can't see... Zoe has weak wave clear. Maybe he gets through her and hits the tower a few extra times. Okay, we'll watch Zoe. Or, not, we'll watch Ziggs. We'll watch Ziggs. Because, like, my gut reaction is these look strong, but maybe not enough to make him a meta champion, you know? Nimbus Cloak, the big things are it's 10% on stuff like Hex Flash and Smite. That is huge. Nimbus Cloak is a very good rune. They are nerfing a lot of runes. I think we're now at the point where they are, like, obviously trying to lower the power of the rune system in general. They are obviously, like, nerfing runes, nerfing runes, nerfing runes. So, like, we felt like Guardian was really bad. We felt like Predator was really bad. So they're nerfing Spellbook now, which took the place because other things got nerfed. Now they're nerfing Nimbus Cloak, which has just become, like, the best rune because everything else got nerfed around it, too. And, like, I mean, Nimbus Cloak is good, don't get me wrong, but it is just a general trend in the rune system at the moment. The biggest things, of course, Smite, Hex Flash. Junglers might not be taking this as much. It's still decent. The ghost effect isn't that effective. 10% move speed. Junglers probably don't like this nearly as much. And set support, I assume, dies from this change. I'm pretty sure set support does not survive this. So there we go. I recorded the video twice. I do not have enough energy to do any of this. I remembered to play music this time, so I didn't have to edit it in later. Perfect. That saves some time for me. Although, does it really? Because I did it twice. We have some bug fixes. The cannon minion thing was fixed. It's here somewhere. Where is it? Oh, client bugs. Yes! Where's minions? Where's minions? Alright. I swear there were minions in here somewhere. Whatever. Cannons have the same attack range. And that's the patch. So, what do I predict are the biggest things to watch? Ashe probably actually hit a little bit. Fiora, I think we watch. Jackson, Jhin, we should watch them. Jinx, I don't think the impact is this patch, but we should watch her. Keep an eye on Nautilus falling out of favor. Watch Rakan. Watch Set fall a little bit. That's what I think. I think the rest of these changes are, you know, nice. And it's hard to get an exact, like, perspective on that. But overall, this is a very detailed patch. And there's a lot of stuff happening. But it doesn't seem like drastically meta changing. It just seems like we're going to see, like, certain champions become a little less popular. And I think that's fine. The game's in a... I'm enjoying playing the game right now. So, it's just... Yeah, Fiora is what I'm watching the most. So that's what I think about 1016. We'll figure out if I'm wrong. If I missed something important, please let me know in the comments, because I am trying to get better at analyzing this. It makes me a better player if I understand more about what's going on with the game, of course. And yeah. So we will see if my predictions come true. Thanks for watching. Good luck on the Rift, everyone.